Here's one lick you can shred across the entire fretboard to impress anyone who's listening. Check it out. Okay, so let's get right into breaking this lick down. So as you saw, we covered a lot of ground with it. And just so you know, this lick is completely derived from the A major pentatonic scale. So it is in the key of A. We start off with an open E string. Then we're going to play the 2nd fret with our first finger on the E string. And then we're going to reach over with our pinky to play the 5th fret on the low E string, which is our root note. That's A right there. So we have... So it just, even though we're starting on the open E, it doesn't mean that we're in the key of E, because an E is found in the A major pentatonic scale. It's one of the notes. So we're just starting off with kind of a little lead-in run that, you know, lands on the root note here. And as we continue on with the lick, we're going to keep encountering more and more root notes. So, and it's very important that you use the fingers, right, of your fretting hand to play the notes as I'm telling you, because it'll all come into play in just how to smoothly get through this whole lick. So we have open E, first finger on the 2nd fret, the E string, and then our pinky on the 5th fret of the E string. And what we do next is we're going to shift our pinky up 2 frets to the 7th fret here. And then once we're here, we're actually going to slide up to the 9th fret from the 7th fret. So there's kind of nuanced happenings going on here, right? So we have, right, which kind of in a way is a lick on its own, right? Just remember, we're picking each note until we get to the 7th fret of the low E string, and then we're going to pick it once and then just slide the note, sustain the note and slide it up to the 9th fret. And then once we're here, our first finger is going to grab, we're going to bar the 7th fret on the A and the D strings. All right, this is going to be our connecting point to the next slide that we're going to be doing. So we have so far. And then from here, with our 3rd finger, just kind of like at the ready, we're going to land it on the 9th fret here on the D string and then slide it up to the 11th fret. All right, and then from here, our first finger is going to grab the 9th fret of the G string. All right, then our 2nd finger gets the 10th fret of the B string. And we're already more than halfway done at this point. So you may be kind of noticing a pattern in sort of where this lick is going melodically when we really slow it down. Right? And that's because we're essentially playing the same set of notes, but spanning across multiple octaves. That's kind of how we're able to navigate this one lick, you know, through a huge chunk of the fretboard here. So we start off, and then from here, you can probably see where this is going. We're going to do another slide from the 12th fret to the 14th fret on the B string with our 3rd finger. All right, so that's essentially, we have the first octave here. All right, then next octave, then the 3rd octave. So we've essentially spanned 3 octaves here. All right, we're going to go even further. We're going to play the 12th fret of the high E string. Then with our 2nd finger, we're going to play the 14th fret of the high E string. And then with our 3rd finger, we're going to play the 17th fret on the high E string. And then finally, we're going to do a whole step bend from the 19th fret. So we're bending from the pitch of the 19th fret up a whole step. So that's the distance of 2 frets. We're bending it up to the pitch of this note. So we're going. And then we're going to slowly release it. And when we do, we're going to land back on the 17th fret of the high E string. And just kind of let it ring, give it a little vibrato. All All right, so just starting from the top real quick, we have all right, so just from the second half of it, all right, when we're at this point. So again, you're kind of noticing a pattern here. If you listen, we're playing the same notes just spanning across multiple octaves. And it's just important to really stick to the fingers that I'm telling you to. It's just kind of the most efficient way to get through this, because it's a lot of movement. We're traversing a lot of ground here, you know? And then once you reach that 17th fret on the high E string, which is, by the way, is another A note. So we've covered the root note, right? Like, let's see how many times. So we have, there's our first one, second one, third one, fourth one. So 4 octaves essentially we've covered here. And then just for good measure, we're just trying to catch as much, you know, more of the notes in the upper frets on the high E string as we can with that bend, right? Bringing it down and then landing on the 17th fret again. So let's do one more recap, and then I want to also kind of explain sort of how I came up with this lick, right? So we start with open E, 2nd fret, 5th fret, slide from 7 to 9, and then bar on the 7th fret on A and D strings. 3rd finger grabs the 9th fret of the D string, slides up to 11. Then we have 1st finger grabbing the 9th fret of the G string, and then 2nd finger grabbing the 10th fret of the B string, right? Then our 3rd finger on the 12th fret of the B string, sliding up to 14. Then 1st finger grabbing the 12th fret of the high E string. 2nd finger getting the 14th fret. Then reaching over with our 3rd finger to the 17th fret, right? And then we're gonna reach over again with our 3rd finger, do a whole step bend and release from the 19th fret, right? And then finally land with our 1st finger on the 17th fret of the high E string. You know, all too often you'll see licks like this that are based in the minor pentatonic, but I wanted to do something a little different and focus on the major pentatonic, and it just has a very vocal, like just soaring sort of a quality to it that I really like, and kind of reminds me of Eric Johnson. I was listening to a lot of Eric Johnson recently, so that's probably what sort of subconsciously influenced me to come up with this. But it's a great lick, you know, and you can play it slow, you can play it fast. You know, if you play it really slow as you're learning it, you know, it's like I said, it's a lot of nuanced movements and just a lot of movements in general, going from the open low E string to, you know, bending all the way on the 19th fret of the high E string. So just really focus on one movement at a time to get it down. But when you play it really slow, you know, it still kind of has that really nice effect to it, you know, or if you want to play it a little bit faster. You know, there's a bunch of things that you can do with it, but at the end of the day, it's a very strong standalone kind of lick. So focus on one movement at a time, connect the dots, and then start playing this at whatever tempo you like. And now that I've given you this badass lick that you'll be getting better and better at with practice and time, I want to make sure that there is nothing holding you back from achieving that goal. So I got something for you. It's a free 30-second survey that's going to help you find out exactly what your #1 guitar progress killer is. So this is going to make sure that there's nothing ever holding you back from reaching your goals as a guitar player. Be sure to click here to take that survey or check the link in the description box. If you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And be sure to check out our other relevant lessons that we got right over here. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm Eddie with Guitar Mastering Method, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.